You know that moment when someone realizes, too late, that they made the worst possible decision? Well, some clips found online show situations where everything seemed under control until it was not anymore. From thoughtless decisions to actions that backfired, these clips show how life can be turned upside down in a matter of seconds, and that is exactly what we are going to see here today. A smart driver tried to avoid a traffic jam by driving on the sidewalk when he was confronted by a group of men who decided to teach him a lesson. After all, what he was doing was completely wrong. Not recognizing his mistake and still believing he was right, he ignored them and tried to drive away, but the men would not let him, and a general brawl began, with the driver ending up on the losing side and forced to leave the sidewalk. As we can see, he fights, insults, and even tries to run the men over. In the end, he gets out of the vehicle and tries to assault one of them, but ends up on the losing side when he's thrown to the ground. Realizing that things were not going well for him there, his only alternative was to leave and continue on the highway. A video shot by a bus passenger captured the moment a woman boarded the vehicle and caused a huge chaos for no reason. In the footage, she appears entering the bus and right away steps on a man who was seated. He gets angry, stands up, and questions her attitude, but she does not lower her head or apologize. On the contrary, she confronts the man and even threatens him with a sharp object. She stays there screaming and threatening everyone in the bus, holding the object until another man approaches her from behind without her noticing, to contain her in, let us say, a not very gentle way. After being restrained by the man, she falls onto a seat, gets startled, and has her sharp object taken away. Seeing that the situation was not going well for her side, she tries to explain herself and seems to act more calmly, being expelled from the bus shortly thereafter. A man was riding in the passenger seat of a vehicle with a gun in his hand, waving it out the window as if it were nothing unusual. However, what he certainly did not expect was that the police would drive by, and obviously the situation did not end well for him. In the video shot by the driver, the man in the passenger seat appears holding a gun, with no fear of showing it to anyone who wanted to see, but as mentioned before, when the police passed by the area and saw that gun being held by someone inside the vehicle, 2 officers approached and confronted him immediately. Upon realizing the sudden approach, he was startled, and the video cuts off, not showing the outcome of the situation that went viral. As stated earlier, it is not possible to see the outcome, but according to some rumors, the men were detained and it turned out to be a fake gun, an airsoft model. The police warned them not to carry the object in that manner. After all, it resembles a real firearm. A man who was barbecuing, in what was surely intended as a moment to relax, forgot to warn his little boy, who shows up right behind him with a basketball, making a lot of noise and deeply irritating him. As can be seen in the footage, the man tried to stay in peace, but the boy would not stop bouncing the ball right behind him. Annoyed by that, he approaches his son, grabs the ball, and boots it away, sending it flying off into the distance. The boy, at first startled, then laughs at his father's explosive reaction, who did not hesitate to get rid of the ball tormenting him. The moment was shared and many parents identified with the video, saying they have been through or still go through similar situations and that, of course, it requires a lot of patience. Anderson Silva's behavior during his first fight against Chris Weidman on July 6, 2013 at UFC 162 was widely criticized and marked as one of the most controversial moments in MMA history. Anderson, then the middleweight champion and undefeated in the UFC, adopted his characteristic taunting posture, keeping his guard low, mocking his opponent, moving his head, and inviting Weidman to strike him. In the second round, after yet another provocation, Weidman connected a left cross to Anderson's chin, who fell immediately, suffering a technical knockout. It was a surprising and humiliating knockout, especially because many believed Anderson could have won if he had taken the fight more seriously. Anderson lost the middleweight title, ending a reign of almost 7 years as champion. The defeat became a symbol of overconfidence and served as a lesson on underestimating an opponent. The rematch took place months later but ended tragically for Anderson, who suffered a severe leg fracture while attempting a kick. A man who caused a real commotion at an airport disobeyed police orders and paid the consequences. In the video shot by another airport user, the man causing the great disturbance was confronted by the police but disrespected the officer and kept walking. The officer chased him and ordered him to stop, but he continued walking, forcing the authority to use a stun gun to bring him down and contain him. The moment, of course, generated great tension throughout the airport, with passengers frightened by the situation, which unfortunately, due to the man's refusal to comply, led to that outcome. After bringing the man down with the stun gun, the officer ordered him to remain on the ground and the video ends. According to rumors, he was handcuffed and taken to the police station, where he was charged with contempt and threat. A restaurant security camera captured the moment when an enraged waitress assaulted a man who had allegedly harassed her. In the footage, it is very clear that the man passes by her in the aisle, and taking advantage of her back being turned, he gropes her buttocks. Immediately, the waitress realizes what happened, grabs the man, strikes him, and throws him to the floor. Surely he did not expect that reaction from her. Upon witnessing the scene, other customers and co-workers approached to try to calm the waitress, who was extremely angry. Fortunately, the security camera recorded everything in detail to corroborate her story, since the man would have denied the incident. During the protests in Atlanta in the year 2020, especially after the death of George Floyd, there were several confrontations between demonstrators and the police. On multiple occasions, the police used tear gas to disperse the crowds. In one specific episode, due to weather conditions, the wind redirected the gas back toward the police forces, causing discomfort and confusion among the officers themselves. The scene in which the gas returns directly to where the officers stood went viral online and showcased all the tension faced at that time in various parts of the United States. Authorities were criticized for their excessive use of force, including tear gas, rubber bullets, and tasers against protesters. In some cases, videos captured the police acting aggressively, which led to dismissals and charges against some officers. Exactly for that reason, many people found it satisfying to see the gas turn back on them. A driver recorded the exact moment when a vandal tried to destroy a light fixture in a shopping mall parking lot and ended up on the losing side. In the video shot by a driver passing through the area, the man was jumping and trying to hit a parking lot lamp, apparently intending to break it. The worst part is that he did so simply for the sake of it, with no justification or reason. However, if he thought he would walk away unscathed, he was wrong. After all, the security guard was nearby, noticed him, and approached, removing him from the scene in a humiliating manner. As you can see in the footage, the guard is a very large and strong man who made the vandal look like a child, making the scene extremely embarrassing for him, which could have been avoided had he behaved normally. A man enraged upon discovering an affair decided to take revenge in a very unusual way against his ex, and the revenge, recorded on video by a friend, went viral. In the footage shot by a friend who accompanied him, he appears using a machine to tear up the flooring of the house where his ex lived. After all, according to information, he was the one who had paid for the floor. Upon discovering the betrayal through friends, he was furious and, in that moment, remembered the flooring he had financed as a gift. As a revenge, he decided to break and remove the entire covering in an impressive scene. Without any mercy, he is seen smashing and ripping up the floor by force, making a huge mess in the place. At the end of the footage, we see his ex discovering everything and confronting him. He reveals the reason and she tries to justify herself, but it was already too late. A woman who decided to use a baseball bat to cut off a piece of a cactus on the side of a highway was the victim of instant karma that went viral. In the footage, she appears with the bat aimed at the cactus, swings, and strikes it, tearing off a large piece of the plant. However, what she did not expect was that the same piece she had torn off would hit the ground and then strike her leg. The piece stuck there, after all. Cacti are full of sharp spines that embedded in her leg and likely caused a lot of pain. With the video's repercussion on social media, many internet users commented on how satisfying it was to see the woman get her comeuppance for destroying the plant, since there was no reason for her to do so. A driver, showing himself to be impatient and a bully, decided to stop his pickup truck in the middle of the road to try to intimidate the driver behind him. But he ended up on the losing side since a police cruiser was passing at that exact moment. When he stopped the vehicle and got out to try to intimidate and start an unnecessary fight, the officers behind him immediately got out and confronted him before he could do anything. The moment is even funny. After all, he acted all tough, but when faced with the police, he got scared and completely changed his posture. He was detained right there by the officers, who handcuffed him, took him to the police station, and even issued him a hefty traffic fine for the incident. An elderly woman protagonized a very arrogant and inconvenient moment inside an establishment by simply intimidating a black man who was at the counter, and for that reason, ended up facing the consequences. In the video recorded by another customer of the establishment, the woman appears next to the man, hurling insults at him for no apparent reason. Not understanding anything, he questions her, and she utters racist slurs and even grabs his order from the counter and throws it on the floor. Angry and without a second thought, the man reacts and gives her a good lesson, causing her to lose her balance and nearly fall to the ground. According to information, she was accusing him of cutting in line at the establishment, which, according to eyewitness accounts, was a lie. Thus, she resorted to racism, which the man did not tolerate and responded to, as we can see. Footage recorded by a security camera on a street in India shows the moment when a thief, who was the passenger on a motorcycle, tries to steal from a woman and ends up surrounded by the population. In the footage, the man approaches the woman and attempts to pull her necklace. Outraged, she does not accept the theft and grabs him by his clothing, causing him to fall from the motorcycle and land on the ground. Quickly, people passing by, in what was a very busy area, surround the man and begin giving him not very pleasant massages, if you know what I mean. The accomplice driving the motorcycle takes advantage of everyone focusing on the passenger and quietly escapes. According to reports, after receiving a harsh lesson from the crowd, the police arrived and the man was arrested. A street cleaner was seen going through a very humiliating situation at the hands of an arrogant driver, and because of that, a passerby decided to take action to avenge the worker. In the video, the worker was sweeping a street when a driver stopped right beside her and began throwing trash out the window, clearly wanting her to pick it up in an extremely disrespectful scene. Humbly, she swept up the mess caused by the shameless driver, until a man walking by noticed the situation, approached the woman, took the broom and dustpan from her hand, collected all that trash, and threw it back into the car, surprising the driver, who ended up on the losing side. When the trash was thrown back into the vehicle, the driver even tried to get out, probably to intimidate the man, but he prevented him from exiting, kicking the door and forcing him back inside without saying a single word. The driver of a pickup truck approached another driver who was operating a luxury car and challenged him to a little race on a highway. However, he did not count on the other's cleverness, who foresaw the problem and decided not to accept. The pickup driver stops alongside, honks, accelerates, and provokes, inviting him to a street race. The other, however, prefers not to get into it. Thus, the pickup driver speeds off, and seconds later we can see a police cruiser right behind him, already signaling for him to pull over. Well, fair warning was given. The dashcam on the sports car records the entire moment. Apparently, the luxury car driver already anticipated what was coming and hit the mark perfectly. Had he joined the challenge, he probably would have ended up on the losing side as well. In another case of instant karma, a man decided to grab an advertising sign positioned on the street to throw it far away, but did not expect it to come flying right back at him. In the video shot by a friend who accompanied him, he appears holding the sign, and when he hurls it into the air, it catches a gust and comes back with force, hitting his leg and knocking him to the ground. Both he and the friend filming burst out laughing at the scene. The sign, which did not belong to him, was legitimately placed there, and he, besides having no reason to touch it, chose to destroy it out of pure foolishness. The video was posted on social media and quickly went viral, with many people commenting on how satisfying it was to see the childish outcome of his action. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.